Hello students, welcome back to the biology class. So in the last class we continued the 13th chapter, the organisms and populations, and we discussed the topic of population growth models. We discussed in the last class that there are two types of models proposed. One is called as the exponential growth, the other is called as the logistic growth. In the last class we learned that when the resources are unlimited, then the population of any organism, any species including human, when resources are unlimited resource, when we say, we are talking about the food and space basically. So when resources are unlimited, the population tends to grow exponentially, and that growth appears to be on this on the graph line with the J shape. So when the J shape growth is there, the growth model is considered as the exponential growth. And we learned in the last class that the availability of unlimited resources is responsible for this type of growth of a population, and ideally it is the unlimited resources. In such situation, each species, each individual in the population is capable of realizing the innate potential to grow in number. That means each individual in population is going to reproduce, and thus it will add on to the population size. And this was even observed by Darwin, and that's why he discussed this topic in the theory of natural selection. We learned that this type of growth is the geometric fashion of growth, and if a population size of n with the birth rate and the death rate are represented, then the formula comes out to be dn by dt is equal to rn. So this is the way we represent the exponential growth model. We learned in the last class that there are two phases in this growth model. So in the J shape you can see that there are two phases there, lag phase followed by the log phase. The lag phase is the initial slightly slow rate of increase, and then there will be a quick increase which is called as the exponential phase or the log phase. We learned that the dn by dt is equal to rn, and this r is basically the birth rate minus the death rate, and this is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. So a population is able to is supposed to grow with this rate if there are unlimited resources available. And we also learned the example that the Norway rat has the R value of 0.015. In the same manner, the flower beetle has 0.12. And we learned that in 1981, the R of the human population in India was 0.0205. And in the 2016, the last consensus of the population, it is 0.01019. That means for every 1,000 individual in India, 10.19 individuals are added. We learned that this type of growth is not possible ideally. Reason is but resources would be always limited in the nature. So we learned about the second growth model, which is the logistic growth model, and this model of the growth is applicable when the resources becomes limited or infinite, because we all know no population of any species in nature has at its disposal unlimited resources to permit exponential growth. This leads to the competition between individuals of same species for the limited resources, and eventually only the fittest individual will be able to survive and reproduce. And this is the same pattern which is used by the governments of generally the developed countries, where they have put restraints so that they can control the human population in their countries. So in nature, a given habitat has enough resources to support a maximum possible number of particular species population, and beyond which no more further rise is possible, and that value is called as the carrying capacity of nature for that particular species in that particular habitat. We learned that the carrying capacity is represented as K, and then we also learned that it depends from species to species and from habitat to habitat. We also learned the formula for this growth model, which was proposed by Verhulst's Pearl, so it is also called as the Verhulst's Pearl logistic growth. We learned the formula is dn by dt is equal to rn bracket k minus n upon k, where k minus n upon k is the environmental resistance. We learned that these two models are the only two models which are supposed to be governing the population growth. Now, in today's class, we will talk about the life history variation